Hey, you can tell me, have you not been making enough me time? Do you feel like you just haven't been finding a way to make time for yourself? And trust me, I've been there. I used to wear my workaholism like a badge of honor, working 70-hour weeks as a director for a financial services firm, Fortune 100 company. And I was proud and delighted to work those hours. I loved my job. But there was also a certain point where I felt like I was winning by working more and more. And the formula for working longer and longer and longer hours eventually led me to burnout. And by the time that I realized I was burnt out, I was already at stage 3 burnt out. And maybe you didn't even know that there's stages. Yeah, there's stages. And it's not pretty, because the deeper down you go into burnout, then the longer the recovery. So even though I felt I was winning, and I was winning in a way that society approved, I was getting bigger and more important job titles, I was earning more money, I was successful. But at the same time, honestly, as my income grew, I wasn't increasing my happiness. If anything, the more money I earned, the more successful, the longer hours I worked, the less happy I was. Does this sound familiar? Are you in that same place? Well, I'd love to help out, because there was a series of wake-up calls that took place in my life. One of which, when I was 25, I was walking across the street and on a sunny Sunday morning, and a car ran over me, and then it left. I was in a hit and run, and the person was oblivious to the fact that they had left me in pieces on the ground. It changed everything, because it made me stop. It made me stop the habit and my addiction to workaholism, and made me stop to take a review of my life in a really deep way. I went through this period then in my recovery because I had a lot of time to ask the why of things. Maybe there was a little bit of existential angst in there as well, but I questioned everything, such as, why am I here? Who am I? What is this all for? Why am I doing the things that I'm doing? And part of my recovery from this accident happened to be yoga at a community fitness center, because that was the only yoga in the area. And I was the youngest by literally 40 years. My favorite pose was Shavasana. That's a pose where you just lie down at the end, and I loved it. It actually got me back to my second yoga class. But even after all this, using yoga for my recovery, and I went right back to where I was before. I got this life lesson. It was a wake-up call. And then I went back to overworking. And I knew that I still had some healing to do. And so fast forward, I had no interest in teaching yoga, to be honest. But there came this point that I thought, like, wow, yoga's really helped me to feel better physically, and maybe I should learn more. And so I decided to take a yoga teacher training, which was really out of character for me. This was not something that was on my radar. And I completed the course, and honestly, I still had no interest in teaching yoga. It was just for me. And yet there was something that continued to just tap me on the shoulder and say, like, maybe you should be sharing this yoga thing with more people like you that are working too much and need healthy ways to decompress, to de-stress, and to avoid or get out of burnout. Because that's what I used yoga. Yoga saved my life in that way. It showed me a healthy way to deal with anxiety. It showed me a healthy way to deal with pain in my body from the accident. And I really did want to tell people about it. I became eventually as addicted to yoga in a good way as I had been to overworking. And yoga also gave me the time to answer the questions. Who am I? Why am I here? Why am I doing the things that I do? And so eventually I started to teach. And from there, I even created my own yoga teacher training program 20 years ago, The Alchemy of Yoga. I believe so strongly in the power of yoga to transform your life and to wake you up to the possibility that there is another way. There is a way to live this life in harmony and balance between the doing and the being and the earning and success, and also enjoying that success, that I wanted to share others this information, and I wanted to teach teachers to go out into the world and proselytize that there is another way, and here are some healthy ways to manage the stress in your life. So that's exactly what I did. And I have taught 30 yoga teacher trainings over 15 years with graduates from over 25 countries. And I would love to tell you more about it. If this is something that you think you'd be interested in, then there's no easier way than let's chat about it. So you'll see a link below. Just click and book a time with me, and we'll discover if this is something that would be useful and helpful to you as well, like it was for me, life-changing. In the meantime, from my heart to your heart, I hope you love yourself, love your day, and love your life. Namaste.